Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Extreme Dojo in the Extreme Palace, in the Pine Hills Palace in Extreme Studio, just west of Orlando, Florida. It's wartime RDV from the Great Midwest because I tell you, we just got done talking about a Donnie Yen film that was pretty good and kind of fun. Now we're going to be talking about a potential first watch, at least for me, maybe not for you, of a 1984 film starring Jackie Chan, Keith Vitali, who we're going to be talking about, and everyone I know is collectively saying in their own native language here on the Extreme Movie Show, who I've got answers. It's got Sammo Hung in it, and it's got that other dude that's actually pretty damn good, but looks like he's got an IQ of 90 in here, and a very kind of bizarre, weird, very juvenile, I'm 8 years old, kind of want to watch a martial arts movie. But this one's actually fun, and it's got that really hot chick we've seen before, who happened to be Miss Spain from 1979.
Yep, Lola Forner.
Yeah, as a pickpocket. Great set pieces, lots of action in here, some stunt work, different than some of the movies, the Tiger Cages that we've talked about and all that, and that's worth discussing here tonight on the Extreme Movie Show. What's your initial take?
Initial take of this is I actually did not know what to expect from this. I mean, I watched the third one with you, reviewed in 2020, which was My Lucky Stars, which is a third film. And dear God, I did not remember anything reviewing that whatsoever. I went and watched it with you, and I realized, I'm like, a past self for me from 4 years ago said the movie sucks. It was horrible. So I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to watch this one. But I looked at the first one, Winners and Sinners, or Sinners and Winners. So I was like, do I want to review this one? Because they're looking for another one to do. And I was like, this one looked cool because they're in the cool car, the cool van. I'm getting an Ninja Turtles vibe.
No.
That's
this movie is Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, I love it. This is Dumb and Dumber has its own charm to it. This was great. I like this. The only thing that was dumb about this was Sammo Hung's character, which he normally does. And honestly, Jackie
I liked
Chan,
him in the pimp suit trying to be the private eye. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was one of Sammo's best characters.
He going to a funeral? It was funny. I liked it because the very beginning, you get these guys, Jackie Chan and Yuen Biao are are basically just like they're roommates, but they and they're doing their routines, like the little boards, if it's called, but it's like they're doing their things. And
can I ask you a question about that?
What's that?
So it is a great opening, right? Did you like seeing their smooth, sweaty bodies while they're touching each other?
I'm trying to get to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So
the homoeroticism was strong in this one.
Oh, it was very sexy. No, and so I love it because the comedy right away from that very opening scene where they get up, they do the training, Yuen Biao does little things, and then he's all serious. Jackie Chan goes boop, then goes. He doesn't want to do anything. Then you see them, got their legs locked. They're both doing sit-ups. I've never seen that before in a movie before. I thought that was kind of cool.
I've seen it before, but you bring up a good point because there's lots of things that you see, depending on which training facility that you go to or whatever format you're practicing. But a lot of times those things just don't make it to the movie. And I remember, I don't know if it was, I think Rumble in the Bronx is the one we talked about where he's trying to relaunch himself in the U.S. For a second time at least, where they show him, and I don't know the name of it, but it's the station with all the woods things going out there so you can practice your blocking and parrying techniques. A lot of everyone's going apeshit over, and it's like, we've seen that 50 million times. It's cool, but that seemed to be like the first time anybody's ever seen it, right? You're right. This is one of the first times you saw people doing cooperative working out with each other. That's just basic tumbling 101, which again, from Jackie's background in education and acrobatics school, I'm sure he did that probably when he was 4 years old. Seriously. But it looks cool seeing them do it, right?
The most recent time I've ever seen anybody using that thing was an Arrow. Over Queen, use tracks, doing that stuff. But besides the point, I love Jackie Chan. They're gonna go out. The neighbor's fighting with his wife. He's been cheating on his wife, and she's got a shotgun and stuff. They're kind of so they can't leave that door. So they go back in and stuff. They go out through. They said he can stay here. Jackie Chan does a little flip, bounces on the canopy below the shop, and then he lands and he sees a guy there. I'm sorry. It's and then. Here comes Bell. He's like, I'm coming. He's like, and the guy, the shopkeeper, is keen to what they're doing. And this is horrible. This is how you I mean, I don't know how he did it without hurting himself.
No, I was going to bring the scene up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Bell thinks I'll do it too. It's just his cousin do it, or his friend, remember, he's gonna go jump, and the guy pulls the canopy out, and he lands on his tailbone. And I've seen people be paralyzed from this before, just doing a little jump in foam.
Yeah, it's a great stunt. You know what? It sounds
Cool.
so simple. He kind of comes down, the other guy, whatever, and then the other guy does it, womp, 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 cue the stupid little English sounds there too. But Christ almighty, I agree with you. I'm watching it,
Yeah.
and he goes splat, and you're like, I don't care if he's got a pad on his ass.
Yeah,
That's not easy to do.
No. After that, they learn that they have a food truck, and also you see them washing it. This hot girl walks by. Oh my gosh. Spain, I love you in the 80s.
I'll be talking about Spain in a moment.
Yeah, but anyway, so the hot girl walks by, Yuen Biao. He goes to the water, and because this stupid cop walks around and inspecting what's going on and gets hit with the water, he's all upset. I'm thinking, like, you're the idiot who walked in front of them. What do you think they're doing? You're throwing your weight around. And I love this. Jackie Chan's, oh, no, sorry. He gives the rag and he rubs the blackface over himself. He walks over to the other two cops, and they're like, he could fall down the chimney? He's like, what? And he's like, oh, I hate those,
those guys.
Well, he doesn't say that. He calls them by Chinese.
Yeah.
Kind of racist, but throughout the movie, it kind of gets slapstick. To me, the weaker parts is with Sammo Hung, to me.
Really? Sammo, we see him early on. You know what? He owns it. He's rocking the big time 80s perm.
I know. I was gonna.
This is phenomenal. I'm like, Sammo, you just when you went did something completely stupid, like I've always bitched at you in all the films that we've covered over you totally redeem yourself. Because he's got the old jacket that's got the elbow patches on it and all that. It's tremendous, really. He's got the dress shirt open up. So when you wear a tie, just for those etiquette monsters out there, when you loosen your tie, you loosen the top two buttons and you loosen your tie so your tie goes underneath it. That's to show that I'm really off duty, or you really should take it off. But he's got the tie tied on so tight, even though he's got a shirt unbuttoned like a complete weirdo freak. It's tremendous.
It's because you're supposed to underneath the collar. You're supposed to flip it out. He has it inside. The collar is flipped out the other way, so he's just got the tie inside, is around his bare neck, like he's never worn a tie before. But he was able to tie it though. It was just kind of weird because it turns out he was basically he was working for this guy's assistant for the private detective. And the guy had to leave, and this guy comes in, and he basically is like his boss said, "Well, you're in charge while I'm gone." Basically, the guy skipped town. That's what it sounded like it, because he wasn't paying electricity. They had no work whatsoever. This guy lays this money down, and he's just like, he's like, I have two conditions if I work for you. And then the guy puts the money on the table. He's like, my conditions that I have no conditions. Like, literally, I love it. So yeah, he goes around, goes to the mafia place, like the Italian restaurant, and I love this because they play this stereotype. I'm looking for fatso. I'm like, okay.
The Italians are the worst in this movie. I mean, they didn't give any thought whatsoever.
I love it. So he goes in, he's in the restaurant, and they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And like, it's like, and then they drink, have a drink, and then this is true culture and stuff. The Greek are kind of like this too. You don't want to be rude, so he has a drink. He's like, "I can't drink today. I want to get drunk." He drinks like 4 glasses because everybody keeps on, and then it leaks like he got promoted. It's like, oh yeah, and so they already in the restaurant. So then they're like, oh yeah, congratulations. He's like, he's have a cup, so he grabs a pitcher, starts peeing out a little thing and drinking like that, and just like, I love it, and like, so I love simple humor like that. But I mean, like, as far as the movie went, though, I was like, I just felt like some of his parts kind of dragged down, but he did say some cool fight scenes in here, though.
If you're not sure what this movie is, basically the next up here, which shows them setting up in a big plaza, selling their food, which I couldn't quite tell what it was. I don't know if it was burgers and fries. It's really not, because it should be Asian food, I would imagine. Now they're in Barcelona. I know I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah.
So Lloyd and Harry are setting up the Shaggin' Wagon with a bunch of, people there in a really old part of Barcelona. And we get the evil motorcycle gang in here, where we get some nice little acrobatics and stunts in there too. And one of the scenes too, even if you're not really convinced that it's good stunt work, even though it's not a fight, we've talked about the parkour, we talked about falling on your ass, which doesn't jump off the screen at you, but I think you can appreciate it. Is, like I say, I always love seeing food in movies and stuff. And some of these physical stunts, no CGI, I like too. They're in a plaza that probably got 100, 200 people in it walking around. And so let's just say they're all doubles, extras, whatever. Who cares? When we first see this juvenile, because they're not scary or intimidating at all, motorcycle gang, they come around out and they're kind of synchronizing a little bit and they're just doing stupid stuff. But everybody that's sitting around them, they just drive past them and there's no guardrails, there's no cutscenes or whatever. And I'm looking at everybody in the background. I see nobody flinching, and the motorcyclists come close. Not that they're going to hit them, but then of course they turn around and they're being talking to each other, doing stupid juvenile things, macho stuff. And the customers all run off, and one dude talks to them. They won't do nothing. So Jackie goes to talk to him, and they get into a big fight and all that. But the guys are running around and all that, and everyone's just sort of there in the background watching it, and they jump over at the same time in a slow motion kind of sequence. This is really phenomenal stunt work here too, and everybody's kind of applauding in the background. And it's like, I gotta say this: I've been to Barcelona, I've been to Madrid. When you get an old city in Europe or really around the world, sometimes what happens is over the centuries, you get where the lines of the city change. And so sometimes, and Rome is known for this, you put fountains, you put something on these borders. And so then there's it's like concentric circles going outwards and stuff. Where this is filmed, it's just beautiful to look at. Barcelona is totally different than Madrid in terms of the atmosphere and the way the people are. Barcelona, you can think it was young and adventurous and vibrant, whereas Barcelona or Madrid, you can think it was like old Spain, and there definitely is a thing to it. And the Catalan region is different. But this is just beautiful to watch. The backgrounds where they're at, it really adds to it. And we've talked about before with the Hong Kong flavor and the big city and all that. I like how this is kind of different. They're Asians, but they're not in Asia, right? And so
they're
what better way to introduce, the fact that they got to meet up with Sammo Hung by this beautiful young woman they go gaga over, who, like I say, is Miss Spain, and she's a pickpocket. So this is done with just very mild hints of sexuality that doesn't even happen in the movie.
Rob, I like it because when I first for meet her, like, oh yeah, because his so and so's Yuen Biao's father, is on a mental institute, and they see this girl, and then
I told you that's when they're looking for the kicker, Ray Finkel. I'm telling you, that's where this movie comes from. I'm not joking, right?
I'll have to go look again compared to, but no, so like basically this girl Gloria, who is his dad's infatuated, like he has a daughter, and they're like, oh, Sylvia. So when they see her again, and when they're doing their food truck and all that stuff, and he come across her, and she's basically like looks like she's hooking, but she's actually doing this. She's actually doing this to steal people's money, guy's wallet, and then she hide. Yeah,
she's undercover.
And anyway, but like I said. I think it was really interesting though. You brought up the dirt bike scene, where they're in the middle of the town square and stuff. And
you don't see that anymore.
The guys were causing them, problems. What was really cool though, I thought it was like how they pimped out the van. He pushes the button, it goes in like trying to fancy high tech stuff, because it's like, remember, they're Chinese, they're smart.
Let me make a quick comparison. Just jumped in my head. Everyone thinks James Cameron is a great director. He's got great stunts. Yeah. Arnold's in his movies. I'm not going to say he's not. Definitely Americanized, right? And when we think of one movie that I like, how it's very slow until the end, and then it really picks up. It's a great third action act, and that's the one where they go over the 7 Mile Bridge with Jamie Lee Curtis and all that stuff, right? So everyone thinks about how great that is and how wonderful it looks, and it is tremendous. I love it. Mm-hmm. But when I'm seeing stunts, that's one stunt. I kind of like seeing a lot of, like I say, I prefer seeing the body in motion doing something, like these guys riding motorcycles. And the few times I've been on a motorcycle, I've gotten tossed or fallen because I want to go 100 miles an hour. And there's a control thing to it. So watching all these people walk around them, going up and down stairs and doing wheelies and stuff. And then Jackie and the other dude at the same time, as we get this far away shot, looking at them in one take, run up to both of them. You think, oh, they're just going to jump over. No, they knock both the dudes off of it. Not Chuck Norris style, but more their own style. And so when you see all the people standing around them, you go, they have to be doing it at just the right speed. I'm sure they have their calculations. I'm sure they have their safety things built in. But what if the guy, when he gets kicked off and they know it's a stunt, when he throws the motorcycle down to let it skid, it slips or something like that and goes towards the crowd? I mean, it's a great little stunt. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think is worth looking at over and over again.
What I was trying to point out is, like, I like how the van pops open like that. It's all automatic stuff, and it flips open. I thought that was really cool to do that. Jackie Chan takes orders while riding a skateboard. I've never seen this before.
Well, he's done
City Hunter.
We've talked about that.
I think the last time I saw him on a skateboard was City Hunter.
Maybe.
Me personally, I know because
that's first time I saw him on a skateboard. Looks very balanced.
Yeah, well, he is, and he's doing the handstands on, he's doing the kick flips, all that stuff. You know, at first I'm like, they cut away to just a feature close. I'm like, is this someone else doing it? But then I realized it probably is him just doing it. He's that talented.
Yeah.
And you know, so I like that he's taking orders. He's got a notepad. He's like this. Goes up. He's like, Picasso, what do you want? He's a Coke, and then he gives the guy a Coke, and the guy puts his paintbrush into the Coke thing. I was like, oh. I mean, at first I thought he was gonna screw up the orders, you know. But it turns out he did everything right. Now people like himself. They're well known around there. And they get caught up with her, you know, and because Yuen Biao basically like has a crush on her and stuff. He's all like, head over heels whenever he sees her. Sophia Loren. Or not Sophia Loren, but Lauren.
It's not Sophia Loren.
No, it's called Lauren something. It's right. What's her name again? It's like
Lori Forner. You gotta look that up.
I can't remember what it was. It's something Lauren. But anyway,
Lola Forner.
Lola Forner, that's what it is. Yeah, sorry.
She plays Sylvia.
Yes. I like it because Jackie Chan, like, you know, they go in their apartments, and that's another thing too. I liked about their apartment. Like when they first were in the very beginning of the movie, I forgot to mention this before they jump out the window, on the balcony. He knocks, like, you know, Jackie Chan like gets up later after Yuen Biao. Yuen Biao walks out the door, and then as he goes through his door, he knocks on the other door. And then Jackie Chan opens his door, gets up, and then you see Jackie Chan. He's like, stretches, and he walks around where Yuen Biao just walked out. There's no wall between them, but they have two doors for some reason. I thought that's kind of clever, but
kind of homoerotic too, right?
What's with
two doors,
homoerotic, bro?
It's this forbidden door. I mean, just saying.
It just means that they just took the wall. That's how cheap it was. The guy, there's no wall. So
yeah, definitely set piece.
There's no code.
Yeah,
or it's not being followed.
So basically, she stays the night with them in a non-sexual manner while they're both going goo goo gaga over her.
Yeah, trying to
the next day, and this is where Sammo Hung meets up with them because he's got to fight with these guys in that room area, which is it's a cool look.
I like the fact that they both know she's a thief, so they hide their money. He's like, well, we don't hide our money because then she thinks we're out. So they both take their money, they hide it, their own separate things. Jackie Chan puts his in his shoes. He's got a whole bunch of shoes, and then Yuen Biao puts his money under inside his dress drawer under these books, and like, okay, we're fine. And then they get up, she's gone. Not only that, the guy came in, and the guy who's speaking his wife again. His wife had a shotgun. In the midst of it, basically like confusion. She had grabbed his keys earlier the day before when they first brought her home, and so she took his car. But the other guys, they noticed that their money's gone, and I like Jackie Chan's like, see, you're not smart. Who puts it under a desk, in a jar? He's like, here, mine. He goes to his shoe, it's empty. He's like, oh, that she little bitch. They took my money too. But yeah, she drives her car. She doesn't want to drive, or she doesn't care. Miraculously, she runs into Sammo Hung's character while they're kind of talking. She gives the guy who's cheating on his wife, gives him like, oh, this is my brother's car. Here's his card and stuff, And then she lifts Sammo Hung's wallet, and then basically drives off. And it's just like everything. She's a little minx.
She's a smooth operator.
Oh, well, yeah. And like I said, she still is good looking as she was in the other movie we watched with her.
Yeah. Natural beauty.
Armor of God. Yep. Natural beauty, yes. We even get a scene in her where when she first did with the guys, she was showering. And you could see her you could see her like this. They didn't really show her in a nice little short, one of their long shirts, their long legs. But you get a scene of silhouette her while she's in the shower, shaving or washing stuff. You see the silhouette of her breasts and all stuff. I was like, wow, this is kind of risque for a Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was like, Jackie Chan usually doesn't have really adult stuff like that.
Right.
But I liked the little cameos in here. We had the guys from Meals on Wheels. You had the guy who has the crazy hair, he's bald, and he has a curly hair. And then you had Richard NG, or who's also in there too. He's like, he's like, I might be crazy, but I'm not, stupid. I love how he just was he outsmarted them because they got a flat when they went to go meet his uncle at the mental place. He's like, why don't you take a screw from each of their tires and then that way you can hold your spare on until you get the new tire. He's like, oh, why don't we think of that? He's like, I'm crazy, But I mean, like, I'm not stupid. He's like, now get off my beach.
Yeah.
He's got a little tail sand. Like, I love the casual writing in this, and overall, it's like it takes a while for them to get the plot going. The fight scenes are probably the best part of the whole entire movie because there's quite a few spread out throughout the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's one where we see two thugs, a shorter guy and a taller guy. I believe the taller guy, that's Keith Vitali, who's considered, one of the best karate fighters of all time.
Yeah.
He came right after Chuck Norris did from the 70s going into the 80s. He was briefly actually in Revenge of the Ninja, which from 1984 is the best ninja movie of all times. I always put that point in there. But the reason why I'm bringing these two guys up is because we'd see him several times in this film. We see him in the streets there and fight, but then we get to see Sammo fight a little bit. What happens here is they kind of pick up the pace a little bit. They find out that when they go to get the money from the Italians, which is the weakest part of the movie, we don't really care about the plot, what's going on with it. We know it's just the thing that's going on. They do this weird, stupid little break into like this hacienda because the bad dude's got her captured. So you've got this absolutely sumptuous Spanish estate, right? I mean, you've got the lit candles, you've got her dressed up and all. I fucking love it. It's incredible. You got all these dudes standing around. You got the guy dressed up as Robin, like a little wuss ass. She's got the two thugs sitting there at the table. I'm looking, they've got bread. It looks like a caprese salad too, although nothing's been poured except for water. They should have either cucumber, lime, or lemon in that water, in my opinion. But details do matter, but I guess Jackie Chan doesn't care about it. And when it comes to the scenes that have food in it, they're doing a little infiltration, right? Because they're trying to get her. But you see the classical Spanish style of what's going on too in this house, and the Spanish style is incredible. I just absolutely love it.
Yeah. So it turns out that her father, the guy who had hired Sammo Hung to basically look for her, Glory, and find her daughter or child. Turns out he's a butler of her late father, who is the head of this estate, and he needs to get her mother and her to this in order to get their inheritance. Otherwise, their evil brother will have control of everything. And their evil brother is the one that's basically had her kidnapped. He's sending the goons after him, and he's a fanatic when it comes to fencing. That's his fetish. He likes fencing.
I want to have an extreme observation here with you, sir. I've never said this before.
Extreme observation.
I fence. So I'll talk about that when we get to it, because they're having a big dinner scene before they have all the fights. And yes, there's a lot of fencing. Yes. So what did you take of this final act here going on where they're sitting at the dinner table and when they actually show up and start fighting?
So the dinner table scene was kind of another like a comedy thing, because you got what's the name gets captured and is like, oh, he's like, he says to the girl, she's all in a fancy dress, because that's what evil maniacs do. They take you, the girl, beautiful girl, we're gonna put you in a nice dress, and stuff, because you're in a castle now and you have to dress a certain way. You got these, and so they're at the long table. He's at the one thing. I'm thinking like, I'm waiting for comedy. She's like, what? I can't hear you. You're way at the other side. I'm waiting for something like that, because it's a comedy movie. But Yuen Biao is the one to get captured. He was trying to rappel down the side of the wall, but they pulled him back up. And then now his legs are tied to the chair. Jackie Chan sneaks in first, and he's on the table. He's got but then he gets caught. He comes out, and then it's just like one after another. And then Jackie Chan basically takes he's like, oh, this is, thanks for the hospitality and stuff. And then he throws the food on the guy's nice coat, which is probably a nice couple $100,000 at least, for those suits. Considering that he's an aristocrat, or at least he's basically a fine.
Certainly what we would call
Armani, maybe.
No, it would be a foreign one. It would be
But I mean, the guys fine considering when it comes to this stuff. But overall, I said, they end up going their own separate ways after this. No, but I love because I love Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan were basically getting in their own hijinks, sort of trying to break in the castle. That was really cool. Seeing, they're climbing up the walls, and then Sammo Hung is trying to get in. Then the window's closed. Jackie Chan comes in, opens the window, looks around, he gets kicked in the face, and then repeatedly he got. Whenever a bad guy would go into one of Sammo Hung's face, he punched the bad guy, and his head was hit Jackie Chan in the face. So there's some slapstick kind of fighting going on in this, which I loved. But to me, the best scene for this whole entire movie is we get Benny Urquidez. He's the shorter guy of the two
Yes, of the
goons.
2 thugs, he's the
Oh
shorter
my
one.
god! And
He
he gets
actually, for you 80s guys, he looks like Andrew Stevens.
cut.
5'6", 145, soaking wet.
Yeah, I kidding me? I thought he looked like Steve Perry.
No, come on,
Journey. No,
you're
but
high.
no. So when they're fighting, they those two have their own little duel thing, and him and Jackie
It's
Chan.
phenomenal.
It's funny. Jackie
Best fight
Chan.
I've seen Jackie Chan in.
This is what Jackie Chan channeling like Bruce Lee. That's what it looks
Yes,
like.
it
Because
exactly is that. It's the Chuck Norris thing. He said, "Hey, we can do it better." That's my opinion,
yeah,
because that's how it comes across. It's a phenomenal fight. These guys aren't the biggest guy. Jackie Chan's maybe what 5'9", 150, maybe 155, 160 top.
yeah.
Not a complaint. Observation. This
Yep.
guy's smaller, but he's thick, and he's a legitimate kickboxer, which means ass kicker, right?
Yep.
This guy, they have a phenomenal fight, and it goes on and on and on. I'm like, wow, I didn't think this guy would really be much of a challenge for him, right? We talked about how in the last movie that we reviewed here that we just got done doing, Tiger Cage 2, how we knew that we had 2 totally different guys that the good guys were going to have to go through before they get to the final boss. So that turned out this way. I almost kind of thought that would be the case here, but because there's 3 separate fighters here, right? You're going to have 3 different people before you get to the final thought. So, of course, you got the fencer guy going up against Sammo Hung, which goes on forever. And the joke is that the fight won't end because other fights go on. But this is a good 20-minute sequence where they're cut through the fights. But this fight scene with Jackie, the more you watch it, the more you're looking at with the stunts in this one little space with a tiny little stairwell and right there with some furniture is incredible. Now, I don't know anything about this kickboxer guy at all, but I watched him, and he's like a few guys or gals even that we've seen in some of these movies where I go, I don't know who this woman is or who this man is, but it makes me want to look them up. And I'm glad I did, because Jackie, I don't know how you found this guy or right up this movie, but you hit a friggin' home run, because I do think this whole sequence with him is the best fight scene I've ever seen Jackie Chan in.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. They're punching back and forth, going at it really, really hard. The guy does a spin kick on him. Jackie ducks by the table, and his foot literally takes all the candles and the middle candelabra in the middle of the long table and knocks them all out. Makes them not be burning anymore.
And
it's great.
I got a little bit of the drunken master kind of like fighting
at the end.
Yeah, because Jackie Chan realizes like, yeah, you can calm down. You're getting too angry. So he's training. So he sits down in the chair. He's like, oh, kind of like relaxing a little. And then the guy's like, what's going on? He's like, he's taking it casual and stuff. And eventually it leads to where Jackie Chan gets the upper hand. The guy gets knocked out the window, and he grabs his legs, and he's like, don't let me fall. Let's have another round. I kind of love it. He pulls him in. I'm thinking like, I think the guy's gonna attack him. Try to stab him or whatever. But he doesn't do it. So the kind of is a mutual respect for them towards the end after their fight.
Because right when that happens, he picked up a chair and he sits down for a minute, and they do the crash zoom on the eyes thing, right?
Yeah.
But right before that, there's a scene where they do a little punch sequence. The guy spins around and he does like this low kick and takes him off. I'm like, I don't think I've seen that in any of these films. Maybe I have, but I don't recall it. This guy brings a really nice style in it. I call him Suspender Guy because he's wearing suspenders.
Yeah.
And when you wear suspenders, you shouldn't wear a belt, so he's got that right. But he's got the cufflinks on it too. But they go from some kicking to where in this next sequence here, as they're doing it, where it's more of the boxing style that they're doing it. And there's even before they have an exchange, which is cool. There's a scene where they go and they both kind of go to like raise their legs at the same time, and they both realize it was just like a fake, so they could send a side punch in or whatever. It's good stuff.
Do you know where you'd see Benny next? Well, after Dragon's Forever, he's a henchman in there. After that, 1989, he's in Roadhouse. It's one of the henchmen in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I mean, I knew he looked familiar. I mean, I've seen him before. So I was going through his IMDb. And I was like, oh, he's in there. He's also in Tango and Cash. Yeah. Martial Law pops up in there. It's at the Rothrock. He's a couple of different. He was Street Fighter. He was one of the gang members. He also did for all these movies he's been in. He's always the stunt coordinator too. So that's why a lot of these movies, Street Fighter, as bad as the story was, the stunts look great. I forgot the Kam-Bo was in Street Fighter. I was like, what? It's been a while. We might have to review that on this channel.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because to me, like I say, I didn't know what to expect on this movie because it's kind of goofy and silly, but it was fun. It feels like a nice little summer one. But this final fight, you get plenty of all your stuff here during the movie, and what they give you here at the end is just literally a one camera shot for the most part. where you get to see both of them express their athleticism. This guy, again, 5'6", 145. That's tiny. The guy knows what the fuck he's doing. It really comes across.
Yep.
And for all intents and purposes, you're watching him. He looks like a jabroni. He just looks like an average dude in suspenders. But when they start fighting, you're like, all right, And like I say, in all great fights, your clothes need to come off a little bit. But when Jackie starts getting the best of him here, and Jackie's in his, little wife beater kind of thing and all that, looking like Bruce Lee wearing all black. He starts pounding on the dude. The guy gets up and he does this wobbly leg thing or whatever before we get Jackie beating the shit out of him. This is just tremendous. And he ends up losing to Jackie, which is fine, but Jackie doesn't kill him or like that, and he kind of saves him. They stop. And it's like I say, I don't know all of Jackie's fight scenes. I've never really thought about categorizing the best one. But to me, I just, out of everything we've reviewed here on the Extreme Movie Show, I don't see anybody could say this isn't his best fight scene with this guy. It's phenomenal. It's A+.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's a guy from James Bond, the henchman, and it was like Mr. something and Mr. the guy, the two guys. They're trying to kill Roger Moore at the circus. You know what
Are you talking an Octopussy?
Might have been Octopus.
Where he's wearing the clown suit?
There was two guys. And one guy wore the hat. And he had a scorpion.
Okay, that's from Diamonds Are Forever, and that's not Roger Moore. That's Mr. Wink and the other guy, the homosexual assassin couple.
Mr. Kid and Mr. Wint. He reminds me of Mr. Wint whenever I look at him. The same hairstyle.
He does. He looks like that. The shorter of the two guys. Yes.
I'm like, I had to look it up because I'm like, I know I've seen this kind of stuff before too. Like that is just.
It's not him, but he does look like him.
I know he does it. He just Overall, though, like I said, this was a very fun movie. Going on based off, I watched Sinners and Winners, the first one, and it was kind of more slapstick, and I don't remember it being as much fighting as this was. But in the third one was just bad. Like I said, this is probably the best out of the three. Dragons Forever I forgot about that movie. That's another one they did with all three of them again. And looking forward to see the fighting scenes in that because Benny's in that as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to stop talking about this movie because even though Jackie wins, and that's the highlight of this, I think the next fight scene's just as good. Yep. This is where you get to see him being acrobatic, and you got Keith Vitali that was talking about when I said we were talking about these two thugs, the short guy and the big guy. It's not nearly as long, and even though the dude gets knocked out with a water pitcher upside his head, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's just really, really good to watch him fight.
I was trying to. I think it's towards the end, or no, right beginning, or basically, I forget what it was. It was Keith Vitali. He's the one that actually kicks Jackie Chan in the throat by accident. Yep. And I was trying because I read the trivia, the goofs and stuff, and apparently he actually didn't realize. Yeah, they were filming a scene, kicked him in the throat, and he got yelled at by the film crew. So because he realized he actually kicked him in the throat, he stopped to make sure he didn't break his windpipe.
Yeah, and you just keep rolling.
Yeah, and the girl was all pissed off. He's like, "No, just keep going." I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for murder, and you just keep going. It's like, oh, yeah, he's fine. But I was trying to see what part of the movie that was. But I mean, overall, the fights. I said the fight scenes here with just. I love the team ups. You get Jackie Chan and as far as Yuen Biao, their team ups when they're fighting, whether it's the dirt bikes or being chased by the guys, or towards while Jackie Chan's like, why are we running? We can take these guys and stuff, So they start beating up the guys, and then the chase scene when they're on the car and then the van and they're being chased by the guys in the cabs. They're squirting the condiments on the windshield. I mean, this is so stupid. He takes like the vegetable or whatever some oil and grease and puts it on the ground, and it causes the cars to flip and roll.
Who would have ever thought a food truck could be so deadly in the right hands?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, it reminds me of the James Bond with the smoke screen and all and stuff. The tools will pop out, but this truck, they're just having fun. Of course, the best part though is that Sammo got flung from the actual van. he took a tumble.
I actually enjoyed both films that we did here, Tiger Cage 2 with Donnie Yen, and then this one here. Haven't seen this one at all. I'm not the biggest Sammo and Jackie fan in terms of some of their slapsticks, hijinks, goofballness stuff or whatever. But I got to tell you, like I say, this is probably Jackie's best fight. When I think of Jackie Chan, I'm really starting to think of more of this stuff rather than the rush hours and anything after that.
Sure.
And I understand he's older and things have changed, and I get it, but damn
I
it, if this isn't some of the best fighting and stunt stuff I've seen in a movie, and I know this, some people might argue recency bias because I just watched it earlier today.
oh no.
I couldn't say no to that, but I'll still sit there and say, okay, tell me which one's better. I personally like more of this type of fighting, again, without 50 gazillion cuts or whatever. And eventually, at some point, I think this is going to lead up to us doing the Blade trilogy, because Don Yen's in the second one. I think he's the fight choreographer in that one, or at least
Yeah.
there's a lot of the Hong Kong type stuff, because I know Wesley Snipes is really big and all that. I think that's the part he wanted to it. But yeah, overall, great film, a lot of fun to it, harmless. Anybody at any age could watch it. There's no messages or a dated phrase or anything goofy being said or whatever like that. It's a good film.
When it comes to choosing these movies, I try to find the ones that has a balance of just, I mean, I don't want just straight up comedy and no fighting. Like, I want to have this actually looking for fighting, and I was pleased to find out this one had a lot of fighting just from the get go. When I was watching the scene where they jump out of on the canopy out their window, I was like, dude, I just was hooked. I wanted to watch more after he landed on his butt. I wanted to see more of that stuff. Yeah. And as I kind of just pulled the slider through and was looking through, and I was like, oh, there's some more fights. I was like, dude, I gotta watch the rest of this. Because I was gonna do Sinners and Winners, but I'm like, I remember Sinners and Winners being more goofy, less fighting. And
yeah,
I like the fighting. I love Jackie Chan's. It's, you know, for I mean, if somebody wants us to review the first movie, I don't mind. It's just that I'm trying to find all the fighting stuff, you know. I mean, but I also want to have a balance of story as well. Like, I will say, this movie compared to the Tiger Cage had the better story. This had the better fighting.
Yeah, I don't think that's even debatable. I like them both, but man, well, I didn't realize that I'd see such good stuff from Jackie Chan here. I didn't know that he had better stuff, to be honest with you.
I'm sure we can find more. We just gotta find time to review all of them. There's lots. Like I said, I still want to do the 2011 police story, because that's the final chapter, and I guess in that series. And I want to see. He's much older. It's 2011. Now he's not as old like we saw him in what was it, Hidden Strike, whatever it was, you know.
Right.
Yeah, where with him and John Cena. Like, I want to. He's still a little younger, so I want to see how slowed down is he, or is he still kind of doing the same moves, you know? Because he was, you know, probably older. 50. He's probably 50 years old, probably.
He's older, I think.
Yeah,
believe it or not, it catches up with you. Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
No. Just, if you guys have not watched these movies, please do so. You can find these through this, but by any means, legal and not gray area
alternative methods.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And if you guys have any other suggestions for martial art movies that you think that we'd like, that are kind of like the action but with a good story or a little comedy, let us know down below. We're always taking recommendations. Anthony, thank you for showing up. So it's great seeing you here. And I think he mentioned Dragons Forever, but I mean, I think we're gonna hold off on that and see what, because I want to. There's I believe the next movie we should be well, I don't know if it'll be time, but is the Beverly Hills Cop. I want to watch that. I want to review that.
Yeah, the new one coming out.
Yeah. Yep. But I think that's on the 3rd Wednesday when it drops.
Right, we'll see. Yeah, that's definitely on the short list too. We were talking about Twisters as well, and we'll be doing when Professor Pixel is celebrating a family birthday in his household. That's why he wasn't here tonight. We're going to be doing our James Bond review, which we sneak in every few months or so when we finish up a TV episode. And we just got done with Columbo and Rankin, the first season and the 2 movies. So we're going to be doing that James Bond movie, as I've been promising. And then after that, we'll switch into something else TV-wise to be determined.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys for all being here. You guys know the drill. Click the like button, smash that subscribe button, leave a comment for the helps with the algorithm. And if you can, let us know what you thought of the movie, and just leave a comment like that. Just tell us. We love having you guys here. If you haven't already hit the notification bell on YouTube, please do that so you get all notifications. And also, we kind of just look at the banner on our homepage. It tells us we always go live at the same times. So,
appreciate the retweets too, and some of the newer people that have come on with some comments.
Oh yeah.
Letting time with us is the best thing that you can do. We have a lot of fun doing that, so appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Good night now.
Later, guys. See you on Tuesday.